I'm super excited to be here. One of the things that I do that I don't know if you guys have done is to start any of these, we're going to go into a 4-minute meditation. Has anybody meditated, done visualization meditation? Yeah, so step one is to recognize that you're going to feel a little awkward at first because it is weird, okay? But we're also going to talk through on the back end how it makes you feel and what it does to your ability to just calm yourself down, okay? I have the luxury of working with one of the Butler basketball players. This is something that's included in his pregame, every single game that he does, and he's had a really good start to the season so far. Okay, so there's 4 steps to it. We just call it ball meditation, pretty simple. Okay, so during the first minute, all we're going to do is I'm going to walk you guys through. We're going to focus on our breathing. Okay, breath is something that is vital for you to continue to perform at a high level when games get close and games get late, right? What naturally happens is our heart rate spikes, and you don't perform as well with a spiked heart rate. Okay, that's why Steph Curry is so good, because he trains his ability to lower his heart rate in a small amount of time. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do then. We're going to increase our awareness. Some of you guys are like, oh, awareness, what does that mean? Okay, literally, it's just feeling your own body, knowing how your hands feel, how your neck feels, how your feet feel, right? Understanding where you are. One of the things you'll hear me say a couple times today is be where your feet are, right? Be present in the moment that you're in because it's the only one that you control. Okay, so we'll focus there. And then you get to have fun. You get to play back your own personal highlight reel. We get to look back on some of the successes that you've had. A lot of times when you watch film, okay, you don't always watch the great things, right? You get told the things that you're doing wrong and how to improve it, which is awesome. But you also need to spend time focusing on watching yourself perform at a high level. So that way you recognize what it feels like to perform there. You remember how it feels to be in that moment and what you did to find success so that you can find that success again and consistently over time. Okay, and then the last step to that is looking forward. Okay, looking towards what's coming up for you. So what's your next game? Saturday? All right, so when we get into that last minute, we're going to go 1 minute on each. Looking forward, all you're going to do is you're going to start to think about and visualize yourself on the court Saturday in that game. Okay? The biggest piece to any type of visualization is it's important to utilize all of your senses. Meaning, you guys have played a video game, right? Everyone's played video games. Okay, how many of you have done like the VR stuff? Anybody have an Oculus, anything like that? Yeah, big difference in the amount of senses that you're utilizing, right? You put the Oculus on, you're able to hear, you're able to see. Sometimes you like convince yourself that you're in a different spot. You get all those funny videos of people like running into things. Those are some of my favorite. I love those. Okay, but it's a different feel. So when we get into visualization, I don't want you to see yourself like you're playing a video game, like watch yourself do it. I want you to really feel it and experience it. Okay, so really easy. You don't even have to move. All I want you to do is get in a comfortable position if you're not, okay, and close your eyes. I will walk you through everything from there. Like I said, we're going about a minute of each. Okay, so close your eyes. All we're going to do to start is focus on our breath. So we're going to take a long inhale, 4 seconds in through the nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow exhale through the mouth. 2, 3, 4. And we're going to continue to repeat that breath. So 4 seconds in through the nose. Hold. Out through the mouth. And hold. As you continue to breathe in that fashion, I want you to just start moving your fingers a little bit. Okay? You don't have to do anything crazy, but just get a feel for your hands. You can rotate your wrists, move your fingers. Okay? Be aware of your hands, your arms. You can start rotating your neck around a little bit. Feel your feet on the ground. You can tap your toes. Allow yourself to really be where your feet are. Understand where your body is, how it feels. You might have some soreness from a good practice. That's fine. Continue to breathe and just be present. If you have thoughts that are entering into your mind, that is okay. Just let them enter and exit. Don't get stuck on one specific thing. As you continue to breathe, I want you to play that personal highlight reel back. Allow yourself to think back on all the big moments that you've had so far this season, any other season. Could be at the gym that you go to shoot, okay? But only successes. For about a minute here, I just want you to play back that personal highlight reel. Really experience what it was. What did it feel like to make those shots, to get that big rebound? What was the sound in the gym when you hit that big shot and everybody went wild? What was the reaction of your teammates? How did you feel internally? What was the energy and the excitement level? The smell of popcorn in the gym, the echo of the cheers. And lastly, we want to look forward. Take what you have done in that personal highlight reel and apply that to what you're going to do Saturday. It's not an if, it's not a might. It is your choice. You are in control of how you play and what that looks like. Attach the previous successes that you've had on the court for what you're going to do Saturday, and go through what that game's going to look like in your mind. You got about 30 seconds. We'll end with one more breath, so 4 seconds in through the nose. 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4. All right, y'all can open up your eyes. So describe to me how you feel now compared to how you felt 5 minutes ago before we went into that meditation and visualization. Does anybody feel a difference? Yeah.
I felt a difference, especially for, like you said, like the good moments, just looking at a coach, with us we were down by 9 in the fourth quarter, and then just being able to catch up and then steal a lead, and then trying to get back to that. There's like on Saturday, like you said, not, lowering the heart rate, don't be too up, don't rush.
Yep.
Playing. So from a coach's standpoint, that was nice.
Yeah. What about you guys? What about players? Yeah, just feel the energy in the room, right? You guys came in, it was like we got to listen to another speaker. It's going to be a lot more of the same. Some of you don't want to be here. You don't really care what I have to say. That's okay. I get it. Some of you have heard me. You do care. That's awesome. Okay, but the energy in the room is way more calm and relaxed, right? It's okay to get hyped up. It's okay to be energetic and be excited, but you also have to develop the ability to bring yourself back down to that calmness, because that's where you're going to perform at your best. And what happens is when your heart rate gets increased, everything around you seems to speed up, right? And that's not just basketball, it's life. You get into a big situation, everything's going quick. Sometimes we make poor decisions, right? I watched a few poor decisions in the 5 minutes of practice I got to see, and it was all because of pressure, right? We attack the lane. Now we got 2 guys on us. We try to get rid of it, and somebody's standing right there. So the pressure of the game speeding up on us, life speeding up on us, decisions speeding up on us, puts you in a spot to not be as clear in your mind. Right? When you're not as clear in your brain, you're not going to be as clear in your body. Okay, the two go hand in hand. Okay, so fun fact, if you visualize every single day, you just do exactly what we just did, your body and your brain, they work so simultaneously together that your brain cannot physically tell the difference between you going out and practicing basketball and you visualizing practicing basketball. In fact, 1 minute of mental training, of visualization, equates to about 6 minutes of physical practice. Okay, so you can amplify your own training development, what that looks like, just by taking 4 minutes a day to actually breathe and visualize. Okay, so when you think about in season, every team in Indiana right now is practicing 5 or 6 days a week outside of their games, right? You're playing, maybe you got 2-3 games a week, you're practicing those other days. So the question then becomes, what we're going to talk through is, what can you do that sets you apart from everybody else in the state? Okay, because at this point in your season, I would imagine that you want to see different results, right? That's fair. Okay, that's not a knock on anybody, but everybody wants to see different results. You don't play to lose, you want to win games. Okay, but sometimes that's out of our control. Sometimes you're just going to run into a buzzsaw and teams are really good. Okay, I've been there before, seen it a million times. Okay, but if you want to change the course of your season, that starts by changing the course of your thinking, which will change the course of your action. Okay, the process creates the result. And we get so focused, especially as high schoolers, so focused on just the result. We're trying to change the result, change the result, change the result, that no process sticks, so you can't get better at getting better. Okay, so if the goal is change our result, we have to take a step back and change our thinking. And in order to change our thinking, we have to be extreme. Okay, and extreme does not mean that you have to do everything that's absolutely crazy. You got to get here at 5 in the morning every single day and put up shots for 2 hours before school. You can, okay, but if you can name one like all-time great that wasn't extreme, right now I will give you my hat, and this is my favorite hat. Anybody? Name, was Kobe Bryant extreme? Yeah. LeBron, is he pretty extreme? Michael Jordan, pretty extreme, right? So what we get to is if you want to be great, that comes with being extreme, okay? And to gain something, you're going to have to give something up. And this is where it becomes a choice and understanding from you of what you're willing to give up and what you actually want, okay? Because you can't have everything. It's impossible. There's only so many hours in a day and you only have so much energy. So if you're willing to be extreme and you want to be great on the basketball court, okay, you're going to have to give something up along the way. Sometimes that's a little bit of sleep. Okay, sometimes that's negative eating habits so that you perform better and you have more energy on the court. Sometimes that's hanging out with friends on the weekend because you have things to do to get yourself ready to play your game. Okay, you cannot have everything. Otherwise, all of us would if it were that easy. Okay, so question number one that you have to really consider is, what is the most important thing for you? And it can be different for everybody, but I can tell you if I'm an athlete in season, the most important thing for me is that I'm taking care of myself and my teammates in a manner that when we take the court, we have every opportunity in our power. We have prepared to the best of our ability mentally and physically, and we are taking the court together as one unit, prepared to go to battle together, willing to do anything for anybody else on our team. Okay? And in practice, if you're on two different squads, yeah, you better battle. Right? Like you're trying to fight, you're trying to get better. In a game, you're all on one team. So there cannot be one guy and then the rest of the team. Okay? There cannot be somebody on the bench rooting for somebody on the court's failure because you want to get on the court. Okay? And it's hard to fight those things. I know that. Okay? I've been there as an athlete where like you see somebody else succeeding in your position and you're like, yay, dang, I want to be out there. Right? And that's tough. Okay, so to some extent, we got to drop our pride and decide what's most important. Is it team wins? Is it personal accolades? Okay, because quite honestly, personal accolades on a team that hasn't won a game isn't going to buy you anything, right? So what that means is as one person succeeds, that only matters if the whole team succeeds. So as you all succeed, you all get more accolades. Everybody is seen in a better light, okay? But there's 5 main steps that we have to go through to change our thinking to be extreme. And none of them are crazy when you think about it, but to implement all 5 becomes the hard part. Okay, so number 1 is to make a distinct decision to control what you can control. Okay, so what are some things on the court that are outside of your control? What? Yeah, referees' calls, and they're not great. Right, it's high school basketball, y'all. They're going to miss some calls. Referees' calls, outside of your control. What else? Yeah, if the other team hits shots, you put a hand in their face, they hit a shot, like, there's not much else you can do. Okay, what else? Give me one more. How about your playing time? You control it? Do you just go up to coach like, yo, I'm going in now. Let me head over to the scorer's table, right? See how that goes. Try that one. That'll be great, right? Not going to work. Okay, so there are certain things that are outside of your control, but the problem is when we focus on the things that are outside of our control, we become uncontrolled. Okay, so we are no longer thinking about what we can control, the things that we can actually change, so we're not making positive changes in our own life. Okay, and everything we're going to talk about works for basketball, it also works for just your general life. Okay, there are certain things outside of your control. My season that I had Coach Jackson that we won a state championship was the most rewarding yet the hardest season of baseball that I'd ever coached in my entire life. Okay, and the reason it was so hard was because I went in, there's a new coach that year. I went into those interviews and they said in the first interview, hey, it's your job. We just got to go through the process. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. I went into the last interview and they said, look, you're 24 and the team's really good. We're afraid that if you fail, we're going to look bad. So we're going to bring in a different head coach, but we want you to still run the majority of things. And that's hard, right? Like as a 24-year-old dude, or for you guys as a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, it's hard to know that I'm going to put in all this work and somebody else is going to get all the credit, right? So that's a challenge. So I went in and I was not in the place that I was now, and it was a daily struggle to control what I could control. We'd win, it'd be awesome. I'd read the newspaper article and it's all about this other coach. And I'm like, but I did a lot and nobody sees it. But who cares, right? Because we won. Okay, so constant battle of what you're fighting. Can you control it? Can you not? Okay, so what can you control? Yeah, your emotions. Okay, there's two big things that you can control. Okay, and emotions fall into that category. Okay, number one is your attitude. That's your emotions, right? But that's not just your outward attitude. That is your inward attitude, right? It is impossible to live outwardly one way and inwardly a different way because eventually they're going to collide, right? And if there's that rift between how you're trying to present yourself and what you're actually thinking, that's an internal battle that is going to cause you to lack clarity, which is going to cause you to play worse. Okay, and that goes into every relationship that you're trying to build in your life, okay, including the one with yourself. If you don't think you have a relationship with yourself, you're crazy. Okay, and that's the most important one that you can manage. Okay, so your attitude is important, and so is your effort, right? And I can't tell you, even now, I coach varsity baseball. I coach the same age that you guys are. The amount of times I get to a practice and I hear from a kid just kind of walking out, and I'm just tired today. Who cares, right? I'm tired too. Okay, these guys have kids. They were tired at some point too, right? Those kids don't sleep very well. I got an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. I was tired for years, right? But that's an excuse, okay? And being tired and telling yourself, I'm tired. I can't do this. There's a million other things I'd rather be doing. I can't wait for this to be over because after I get to go to this game, this party, this event, whatever, you're giving up time that you can never get back, okay? One of the greatest things that I ever heard is that if you had $86,400 in your bank account this morning when you woke up, and the only rule was that at the end of the day, all of that money, whatever you didn't spend, you couldn't save it. At the end of the day, it just goes away. But at the start of the next day, you have $86,400 new dollars to work with. Okay, what are you going to try to do when you wake up and you look at that bank account, $86,400? What are you going to do with it knowing it's going to leave at the end of the day? Heck yeah! You're buying everything, right? I'm spending every single dollar that I can because it's going somewhere. Okay? But here's the interesting part. Every day that you wake up, you have 86,400 seconds. And at the end of the day, you can't save it. Whatever you have wasted is gone forever. You cannot get it back. Time is not something that is replaceable. So seniors sitting in here, however many days that is for the rest of your senior season, that is it. And maybe, hopefully, you go on and you play at the next level. Hopefully, basketball is something you do for a long time at the gym. All of that's great, but it's different. Okay, you cannot replicate high school sports. So when you wake up and you start thinking, man, practice is going to stink today, you're wasting that time. You're going in with energy that does not match what you want, and then when it's gone, you're going to be one of those people that's talking about all the things that you could have done that you never actually accomplished. Okay, for what? No reason to do that. Right? So 86,400 seconds every single day. Use it. Control what you can control. You can control those things. Okay? But the next step to that is recognition that if you have $86,400 and somebody bumps into you on the street and steals $10 and runs away, are you going to chase them down? Probably not worth your time, right? You just lost $10. It's not a big deal in the day. So when the ref calls that first foul and for the rest of the game you're mad because the ref called the foul that you didn't agree with, you have taken those 10 seconds of your life that weren't good, and you have extended that for the course of 2 hours of the game that had nothing to do with that 10 seconds. And you can't get it back. Okay, so our ability to move on and recognize in the moment, I can't control that call, stinks, time to move on, next play. Right? That puts you in a much better spot to continue to compete. Okay, so winning games is great. I know that's the goal, but you win games by winning possessions. Right? You win possessions by being focused on each individual possession. And if there's no focus because you're still focused on something else, then that is you being selfish and a poor teammate. Maybe that's not your intent, but that's how the action comes across. Okay, so step one is control what you can control. Be that guy. Okay, be in control of your attitude, be in control of your effort. Okay, those are the two biggest things that we can take control of. Okay, number two is the recognition and understanding that you need to wake up with the mentality that I love what I do and I approach each day with joy and enthusiasm. Okay, that's a choice that you get to make. How many of you love school? You wake up and you're like, let's freaking go. I get to go to school today. No. But how much better would school be if you showed up and you saw it as an opportunity? Okay, because you don't. You see it as something that you have to do. School is a means to get to basketball practice for some of you. Okay, I know that. All right, but think about it. That's 8 hours of your day that you're never getting back. So if you take the day and you say, I'm going to approach this day with joy and enthusiasm, regardless of what it is that you have to do, a math test, fine. Go and crush it. Okay, because you're going to do it either way. right? So at the end of the day, it is vastly important that you approach everything that you do with that same level of joy and enthusiasm, because you can trick yourself into loving what you're doing. Otherwise, you waste that time. Okay, so regardless of what it is, you get put in for the 30 seconds at the end of the game because the bench is emptied. Man, I love what I do. I'm going to approach this with joy and enthusiasm. I'm going to go at it for that 30 seconds. Use your time. You don't choose your opportunity, but you choose what you do with it. Okay, so that's step number 2. Step number 3 is dreaming big and ignoring the naysayers. Now, I would imagine at a school this size, with you guys having not won yet, okay, how many of you are hearing about that at school? Even if it's jokingly, right? How many of you think the jokes are funny? Yeah, probably not, right? Because they're not out there putting their name on the line to get beat, right? They're just going to school and making fun of you for losing. Okay, so we have to ignore that. And it's hard. Trust me, I know it's hard. Okay, I know it's hard because one of the things that I struggle with is my job now since I quit teaching. That was one of the hardest things that I had to do, because now I know, talk about things you can control, that I have 2 kids and a wife, and if I don't find some way to make money, my family's on the street, right? So I have to be really good at what I do. I have to grow a quality business. I have to be engaged, which means for me, I have to be on social media. And it's weird sometimes as a 32-year-old dude having to post constantly on social media and market and do those things. Okay, that's strange, and I get that. And there's a lot of people that are like, man, that's stupid. You look dumb. Why would you do that? You're never going to be successful, right? Everybody in my family when I started the business said, hey, this is a dumb idea. Just make sure that you keep your teaching license for when it fails. It's my own family, like the people that you should be able to count on and count on their support all the time. Okay, so at the end of the day, the only person that you need to believe in you is who? That's it. That's it. But the moment that you stop believing in yourself, you failed. Okay, as long as you continue to have belief in yourself and the process, then you're going to be fine. Okay, but you have to ignore it, which means, like, if that kid says something, just walk away. There's no reason to engage. But if that person is your friend, they're not your friend. Okay, they're not your friend. They're making jokes at your expense. That is not a friend. Okay, a friend is somebody who's going to be there to build you up, to be by your side, to help you pursue the things that you want to pursue to be successful. And if you're not doing that for your friends, then you're not a good friend either. So you got to be that, right? If you want that reciprocated to you, you have to provide that. And that starts with everybody in here, right? You guys should be that close-knit group. You guys should be that friend group. You guys are the ones who are hearing those things about you as a collective group. So find a way to come together as a collective group to be successful in what you're doing. Okay, so you have to control what you can control. Okay, you have to ignore the naysayers. You have to focus on the things that you can do to attack the day with joy and enthusiasm. And number 4, you have to be relentless. All right, Kobe Bryant, one of my favorite dudes, Mamba mentality, right? Absolutely relentless in his pursuit, which means that if you fail, we want to fail forward. Here's what I mean by that. If you have 2 people at a starting line for a race and the gun goes off and the first person doesn't move because they're afraid, right? They don't want to go anywhere. They're nervous that they're going to lose and they don't move. And the person that they're racing against takes off and falls flat on their face. Who's winning? The person who took off and fell flat on their face, right? Because you can't fail if you don't try, but you're guaranteed the outcome of never experiencing success. Okay? If you try and you fail and you fall flat on your face, but you fail forward, that means we can get up and we can keep failing forward until eventually you reach the finish line and you find success. And my gosh, is that the beauty of high school basketball? Because how many wins do you need to make it to the sectional? Oh, you're automatically in, right? So you can just go to the sectional and win a sectional, right? It's happened before. I've seen it happen. Okay, so nothing that you've played so far really matters. I mean, it matters. You want to win every game you're in, but you are not in a worse spot than any other team in the state in regards to your postseason resume. It's not seeded. It's a random draw, and you have every opportunity to win every single game that you're in, which is why we play them. They're not done on paper. There's no simulation like a video game, right? So in that relentless pursuit, that means that you have to find a way to get better each and every single day that you are living, right? So what I'm asking you to do is to find an additional, is a huge ask, right? An additional 14 minutes and 24 seconds a day to focus on something that's going to make you better. Okay, is that too much time? Is that like a big ask? No, it's literally 1% of your day. That is 1% of the 24 hours of your day that if you wake up, you do the meditation that we did for 4 minutes. You just took 4 minutes, okay? You do some writing. It's going to take 5 minutes. You read something. You watch a video. You literally watch your own highlights. It's going to make you better. And you took 1% of your day to do something that's going to help you here, which is going to help you physically, right? It's not that hard to do. You're fully capable of that, okay? But relentless pursuit cannot happen if you're not ignoring the naysayers, right? Because then they get to you. And then you bring yourself down. And then it's really hard to act when you're feeling that way. Okay, so scientific thought, an object in motion will stay in motion until acted upon by another object, right? Well, your thoughts are energy, which is an object in motion. So if you take that thought, that's a negative thought, and rather than sitting with it, dwelling on it, staying in that mindset and allowing yourself to get down, feel negative, be those things, and you just let it go out the other side, you can't control if that thought happens. Some of those are subconscious, but you can control how long you hold yourself in that spot. So the quicker that you can move on, that's where relentless pursuit comes from. Your ability to get yourself back up and to continue to move forward, right? And if you can do that, then who knows what happens. Next game, the game after that, the end of the season, y'all are capable, right? I just watched you. I think you're pretty athletic. Are you a pretty athletic team? Yeah, you seem pretty athletic out there, right? I coached a little basketball. Not great, but I mean, I can shoot it a little bit. I could back in the day, right? I'd practice with you. I'd make him look silly back in the day, man. Okay, so the last piece of the 5, and this is the hardest one to consistently do, okay, is to make a decision to do one of 2 things. You either have to choose faith over fear, or 2, you have to choose faith through fear. Okay, there are certain things that you're going to encounter in your life that are absolutely terrifying. Okay, when I found out that we were having our first kid, I was absolutely terrified. Okay, when I found out that it was going to be a girl, I was like, I was going to leave my wife. I was like, we're out. I had 2 brothers. I had never dealt with a girl. I was like, I can't do this. Y'all, you're on your own for this one. Okay, so there are certain things that you can't help but be afraid of, but it is your choice what to do through that, right? Do you allow that fear to cripple you, or do you choose faith through the fear? Okay, one of the best things that you can do is to allow yourself to be courageous. Okay, and courage is your ability to still be yourself and go through something that's scary, that you're afraid of. Okay, but the best way to acknowledge the fact that you can have that courage is to realize that there is an end to that point. A lot of times when there's a big moment that's coming up, maybe for you that's going to be a big free throw Saturday, you catch that pass, ready to shoot on Saturday, and you're down 2 in the last minute, that's going to put your team ahead. It's really easy in that moment to feel that fear, right? But courage normally takes 15 to 20 seconds. Some of you guys have probably experienced it like asking a girl out. You're like, she's going to say, no, I don't want to do this. Fine, I'm just going to do it. And you go and do it, and then it's over, right? So recognition that there is the backside of that, it's going to end at some point, is huge because it allows you the faith to get through that. Okay, but one of the things with faith is that it doesn't guarantee your success, but it puts you in a much better spot to experience success. Okay, there's nothing that I can say here that's going to flip a magic switch that makes you go and win every game that you're going to play the rest of the season. Okay, but if you implement these small little strategies, it's going to put you in a better position and increase your probability. Okay, and that's all that we can do, and the rest is on you guys to go and play the game. Right? So one big word, we'll leave you with this and one final thing, but that I want you guys to remember. It's a Greek word, it's meraki. Okay, does anybody know what that means? Anybody study Greek? Me either, but I know what the word means. Okay, this is one of my favorite words. Meraki means your ability to leave part of yourself behind in everything that you do. Okay, it's essentially, in the direct translation from Greek, it's leaving a piece of your soul in what you do. And think about it. If somebody goes to watch your basketball game, in order to get in, most of them are doing what? They're paying at the gate, right? Which means you're there to entertain. Yeah, you want to win, that's great, but they are paying for you to entertain them. And the best way for you to entertain them is for them to know exactly who you are. I should be able to watch you play basketball and tell you who you are off the court, because that's you leaving soul there, right? Like, I'm going to talk to you guys for 30 minutes. We're almost done here. But in those 30 minutes, I hope that when I leave, there's a piece of me that is here forever. And if you can take that into every single thing that you do, every relationship that you have, every class that you take, I know you don't want it, okay? But every class that you take, every shot that you take, every workout that you have, all of those pieces, okay, your life is going to look extremely different. And people will know who you are, right? And whether they like that or not, that's okay, because when you choose to live extreme, what you're going to become is polarizing, okay? People will love you or they're going to hate you, okay? And most people in my life either love me or they hate me, and that's okay. Because if they hate you and they don't like who you are not responsible for their feelings. It is not your job to change who you are to match somebody else. It is not your job to shrink your own energy to fit inside of a room so that others feel comfortable. It's their job to match yours. Okay, so whoever you are, whatever that is, you got to be the best at it. And the only way to be the best at it is control what you can, ignore the naysayers, do the little things. Every little thing that we're talking about here is important. Okay, so here's my challenge to you guys. Okay, there's a couple simple steps that I want you to do. Literally do it. What day is it? It's Thursday. So you got a game Saturday, so I want you to do this for 2 days. And then if you love it, keep doing it. If you hate it, you can think I'm an idiot and you never have to do it again. Okay? You're going to think I'm crazy. That's the next thing I say. So I need you to commit to this before I tell you, because then you won't. Will you do this? It won't take more than that 14 minutes, 24 seconds. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. So tomorrow morning when you get up before school, I need you to turn the shower on as cold as it goes. I need you to get in for 1 minute.
Yep.
You just agreed.
You did.
Okay?
You did.
I can tell, I have taken a cold shower for 120 days straight at this point. Okay? And at 120 days, it is not any easier, and I hate every moment. But you get out of it, you have increased blood flow. It helps you focus your breathing like we did, right? Because you get in, you're like, and you figure out how to breathe. You figure out how to calm yourself, control your body to do those things. So cold water exposure, 1 minute a day. It's literally one. It's not too cold. It's not too cold. That's a choice. So again, that is a choice that you are making that it's not important enough, right? So with that, rather than it's too cold, because that's a lie, it's not going to kill you. It's not too cold. Maybe it's too cold for you, but you need to frame that as it's not a priority. Because that's what you're saying to me, to everybody in this room who just agreed to that, to all of your teammates. Hey, you guys aren't enough of a priority for me to be uncomfortable for 1 minute, right? And for you to win a basketball game, you're going to have to be uncomfortable for way more than 1 minute, right? It ain't that easy. You can't play one great minute and the game over. That's not how it works. So allow yourself to be uncomfortable. That's where growth happens. You sit in that little comfort zone, you never leave that. Okay, so you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. It's the only way. Okay, so there's 1 minute of your day, cold shower. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to write down, physically write down, not in the notes on your phone. You're not going to think it in your head. Okay, words fly, you forget them, written remains. The process of physically writing sticks in your brain better. Okay, so you're going to write down 3 things each day that you're grateful for. They can be the same 3. And if y'all can't think of 3 things that you're grateful for, that's a bigger problem, right? It doesn't have to be anything huge, right? The sun will hopefully shine tomorrow. You can be grateful for that. You can be grateful that you're on the basketball team, that you have an opportunity to play on Saturday. It's not hard. Okay, but what happens when we lean into gratitude is when something goes wrong, we fall back to the gratitude. But when you wake up, you're late, you don't take a cold shower, there's no gratitude, there's nothing there, and one bad thing happens, we start to stack. Okay? So stacking is really simple. It's like this. Okay, you have 1 dish in the sink. How long is it going to take you to wash it? Like 30 seconds. We're all guys. We're not going to use soap anyway, right? You just rinse that off, throw it back. We're all good. It's fine. Okay? But when mom or dad says, hey, you got to wash all the dishes, and you look at the sink and it is piled up and full, you're like, man, this is going to take forever. I don't want to do it, right? Same thing with your thoughts. So if one thought stacks into another, you have this giant sink of negative thoughts and emotions in your head, and it's impossible to control those. And now we're in the 4th quarter, and you're still pissed off about a lot of other things that happened, and you're not going to perform, right? So the only way to do that is to be present, be in the moment, fall back on gratitude. Okay, so cold shower, 3 things that you're grateful for. Next one is 3 positive things that you believe about yourself as a basketball player. Not what anybody else says. Who cares? Okay? There is a place and a time for coaches to give their opinion. There's a place and a time for teammates to give their opinion. All those things are valid. But if you do not hold the majority ownership in your self-value and self-worth on and off the court, then you are essentially seeking your identity in what everybody else is telling you. And that's not a great way to live. It's a constant pursuit and grasping at straws for something that you can hold on to, that you can believe in about yourself, that you don't actually know if it's true. Okay? So when you redefine your own identity, things change. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. 3 affirmations. I am, not I will be, not I could be, not I can be. Okay, we're all ICIW. I can, I will, not I hope, I think. Every single thought that you have has to be definitive. I can, I will. Really simple. Okay, so cold shower, affirmations, gratitude, and then the last thing, one single power phrase. Here's what a power phrase is. Okay, it can be a single word, it can be a statement. Something that during the game, when your brain is spinning, you can fall back on one single word or phrase that you truly believe. Okay? And for my guy at Butler, okay, his is really simple. It is exactly that. I can, I will. Okay, something goes wrong, doesn't matter. I can, I will. I can, I will. I can, I will. All game. It's the only thing going through his head. Because when you choose the thought in your head, you're essentially eliminating all of the negative thoughts that are naturally going through it by taking control over your thought process. Okay, if you do those things and you guys come together as a team through that, right? Good teams have shared suffering. And you guys have had some shared suffering. You've taken some licks, right? You want more shared suffering? Cold showers, right? And you don't even have to tell anybody. It ain't about the optics. It's about you getting better in private so that you can thrive in public, right? No one needs to know what you're doing. You go practice hard. You do your thing there. You get on the court. You put yourself in a position to win games. And when you get there and your mind is clear and you've already seen it happen because you've visualized it, it is wild, but you will experience deja vu from something that you planned in here that you watch and experience yourself do on the court. And suddenly you're celebrating when that final buzzer goes. And there's one win. And then we stack those together. Okay? But the only way to stack them together is to continue that process. Right? Not get a result and then think that we're good and go back to our old ways. Okay? Change only works if it's lasting.